Hey everyone, my name is Olaf and today I'm going to show you how to make a low poly island in Blender. It's going to take about 20 minutes and it should be fairly quick and easy for beginners. So let's get started. Okay, so we're going to start off this tutorial by deleting the default cube. And the way to delete an object in Blender is to click X to delete. Then we're going to go into Cycles Render from Blend Render for better shading. And we're going to go into File and go into User Preferences. We're going to add mesh ANT landscape so that we can add landscape into our scene. Click Save User Settings and then go back. And now you're going to click Shift A to add a new object. And you want to go to the bottom on Mesh, and there you'll find Landscape. And when you add Landscape, you'll see a lot of settings on the left side. So I'm going to drag it up, and you can just copy all the settings, or you can make your own settings. It doesn't really matter for the tutorial, so you can change whatever you want to change. But I'm going to start off by disabling smooth, because this is low poly, it's not supposed to be smooth. And then you want to make the resolution about 300. You can make it even higher if you want to. And then I'm going to make the mesh size to 20. And then I'm going to change the type from multifractal to strata, H terrain. And then I'm going to go into the noise size, and I'm going to change it from 1 to 4. And then I'm going to change the dimensions to 0.8. As you can see, you don't have to copy exactly what I'm doing because a lot of these settings are kind of random, but some of the settings are actually pretty useful to get the results that we get at the end. So you probably want to copy the numbers I put in. So height to 4, and then you need to make the plateau even higher, which is kind of the border. As you see now, it can become taller in height. And I'm also going to change the type from type 1 to type 2 because that gives it more of an island look. It makes a larger part of the object flat, which is good to add some ocean later. And now that we have the basic settings, you can go through all the random seeds and then you will find the island you want to have. I usually go to random seed 3 because it gives it kind of a, I don't know if it's a volcano look, but it's kind of like a Pacific style to it. I don't know how to say it, but it's kind of a cool shape that I get on random seed 3. So if you want to have the same result as me, you can probably just go to random seed 3. Okay, so now we need to go to numpad 1 because now we're going to start adding the materials and the lighting as well. Okay, so start off by clicking T to remove the settings for the terrain. Then go into the settings on the right side and click New Material. And now we have the basic diffuse. And I think I'm going to select the sun first before I start adding any materials so that we can actually see how it looks. So select the lamp and make it into a sun. Make the size to 1 and then click Use Nodes and make the strength to about 3. Next up, you want to go to world settings, so click the globe icon, and then you want to click Use Nodes, and we're going to add the background or the sky color to the scene. So go down, click Use Nodes, and in this tutorial, I've actually written down all the color codes for my finished result. That way, you will get the exact same color as me. So go into Hexagon, and then change the color to 9, 2, C, 1, FF, and then you will get the exact same color as me, which is good for giving you guys the same results, obviously. Click G to grab the sun, and I'm just going to rotate it, so click R, then Z to rotate it on the Z axis, and I'm going to make it rotate towards the island, or a little bit above the island actually. And now if you go into rendered mode, you'll see how the white color looks on the island. And as you can see, the material looks really good with the sun. So I'm going to keep these options for the sun, and I'm going to start adding the other colors. And this white color is actually going to be the top color of the island, which is kind of the snow layer on the top. So we're going to keep that material, and I'm going to make a new one. So go to numpad 1, which is the front view, and we're going to start adding the materials. So click set to go into wireframe mode and make sure the island is positioned correctly. So click A to deselect everything, and I'm going to add a new material, and I'm going to add a stone material. So click new on material, and I'm going to tell you exactly what color code you could use to get the kind of the gray stony material. Let's go into hexagon again and copy the same color code as I'm using right now. So click 8, 6, 8, and then click, I think it's 6, and then 8, and then 6 again. And then you will get this color, which is kind of just a gray color. And I'm going to select the area where I want to have this exact color. And the way to border select is to click B and then drag it with your left mouse button. So click B to border select. And then just drag it to the other side and then release the left mouse button. And as you see now, we have marked the area where we want to have the material, and I'm going to click assign. So if you go down to rendered mode again, you can see that the this area now has the stony gray material. Next up, we're going to add a new material, which is going to be the green grassy material. So I'm going to go back to solid mode and then go to the front view. So click numpad 1 to go to the front view, and then I'm going to add a new material. So click plus and then click new. You can give names to the materials if you want to, but I'm not going to do this in this tutorial because it's going to take more time. And I'm going to write in the color code for the green that I want to have on my island. So just copy the color code. So click 368F and then click 11, and then you get this green color. And I'm going to click A to deselect, and then click B to border select again. We're going to select the area where we want to have the green material. So drag it to the other side with your left mouse button and release it. Oh, we forgot to go into wireframe mode. Okay, so you need to click set to go into wireframe mode, and then click B to border select again. And release the left mouse button, and let's see how it looks. Oh, we actually selected too much, and the reason why we did that is because our front view is a little bit too far up, so we need to drag it downwards with shift and then the middle mouse button. And then now click B again, drag it and release it, and you will have selected the area where we want to have the green material. So let's go back to rendered mode and see how it looks. Okay, it looks good, but we actually need to go into circle select and border select afterwards to select more specifically where we want to have the different materials, because it's not going to be completely accurate by just using border select in the front view. So I'm going to click B, select this area and assign it to the green, the grassy part. I'm going to do it here as well. I'm going to click C to circle select, and then use the left mouse button to select the areas where you want to add the material. So I'm just going to add this whole area, and we're going to do this a lot in this tutorial by just going around and assigning materials to the different faces on the landscape. So that's going to take some time, but it's going to make it look a lot better when we have assigned it correctly. So look around to the other side and then click C again to circle select and select the parts that are kind of not selected correctly. The good thing about this technique is that it's very easy to change back to another color afterwards. So I'm just going to click assign, and obviously it's not perfect, but for now I'm just going to add a new material, and this time it's going to be the sand material, which is going to be on the beaches of the island. So click add a new material, click new, and again for this material we're going to copy my color code. If you want to, you can obviously make another color, but if you want to have the same result as me, just copy the color code. So click A, D, 9, 1, 7, 2. I actually found this color code for sand on the internet, so it's supposed to be a sand color. But obviously this is a kind of a cartoon low poly scene, so it doesn't have to be like completely accurate, obviously. Okay, so click A to deselect everything, and we're going to border select the area where we want to have the sand color. So click A to deselect, and then click B to border select and drag it with your left mouse button. Again, I think I forgot to go into wireframe mode, so click set to go into wireframe mode, and then selected B border select. And I think we need to deselect some parts afterward. It was kind of too much, so click C and then hold in the middle mouse button to deselect areas where we don't want to assign this material. So I'm going to remove it from the parts that are kind of far into the island, so that, because this is just going to be a thin kind of a beach line towards the sea, so we don't want it too thick. So I'm just going to remove it, assign, and then go back into rendered mode. But as you can see now, it's still too much sand, so we need to remove some of the sand, and obviously we need to add some water to see where the beach line is at all. It's kind of hard to tell right now. So I'm going to go back to material 3, which is the material for the grass. So I'm selecting that one, and I'm just going to select the areas where I want to have the green material. It's obviously not going to be perfect, but I'm just going to try to select the parts where it looks good to have grass. So I'm just going to select some areas, click assign, go into rendered mode, and then go back into the solid mode and add the materials. I actually need to add some sand in this area because it's still some white material left, because I haven't assigned any other colors. As you can see here too, we still have some stone material in this area. So I'm going to assign some green to this area. Click assign, then go back to rendered mode and see how it looks. Now, before I start assigning even more materials or even more green to this island, I think it's good to get a reference point and get some water into the scene, so that we can actually see where we're supposed to have the beach. So left click to the point where you want to have the ocean, then click plane, and we're going to scale it by clicking S to scale. So I'm going to scale it by, let's say 100, S100, and then click new material, add a new material. And then you can just copy my color code. So write in 6, 1, 7, and then FE7. So go into rendered mode, and I think I'm going to grab the ocean a little bit upwards, so click G, then set to grab it on the Z axis. And as you can see now, we have an ocean. But as you can also see, we need a lot more green, or assign a lot more green material to the island because it's too much sand on the island and that doesn't look very natural. Okay, so let's go back to the island, select the island, and I'm going to click C to circle select, and I'm going to add some more green to the whole as a beach line. So I'm just going to select a lot of the island and then assign the green material. So this whole part, this whole like lower part of the island needs a lot more green. So click assign, go into render mode, and as you can see now, we have a lot more green, but we still have a lot of sand as well, so we need to assign more of it. So let's go back to solid mode, and then click C to go into wireframe. That way it's easier to select. I think that's the reason why we have so many spots that still has the sand material, and then just select all of the missing faces that still has the stone material. Okay, right click and then click assign, and as you can see now it looks a lot better. And I'm going to keep selecting the parts that has too much sand. So I'm going to click C again and then just select this whole lower area except like a small line for the beach itself. This is really what takes the most time in this tutorial, is just to assign the materials correctly, because it can take some time, but it's going to give it a much better results at the end, instead of like using nodes and all those kind of things or mathematics to add materials. I think it's better to add it manually. Okay, so click C again, and I'm going to select a huge part of this area because it still has too much sand, and just click C to select and circle select most of the lower part of the island. Okay. Okay, let's click assign and see how it looks. Okay, it looks better, and we need to select this part as well. So click C again and select this whole lower part, a little bit above as well, because it was actually kind of a huge part that still had sand. Okay, and let's just look at the other side of the island. We still need some more green here, so I'm going to go back to circle select, click C and hold in left click and select this area. Okay, and I'm just going to select these parts that I missed. Okay, let's click assign and see how it looks. There's still kind of a U shape here and down here as well. We don't actually have to make the whole area green. We can still have some areas that has a larger beach or a larger area for the sand. That can still look a little bit natural, so we might keep some of the sand. Okay, so click numpad 0 to go into the camera, and we're going to right click to select the camera and then click Shift F to go into the fly cam. And you move around with W, A, S, and D. And then you want to find the spot that you want to have for your render. And when you have a spot that you like, you can just left click to confirm. So left click and then go into clipping and make the clipping to about 1000 so that the camera can look a long way. Okay, increase the resolution quality to 100% and then go into sampling and make the render samples to, let's say, 250. We're just going to give it a lot better quality. Okay, so go into render mode, and there's still some parts of the sand that I don't like, so I'm going to go back to the island and assign some green to that part. As you see, it's kind of a U shape that I don't like. Okay, so go back to solid mode. So I'm going to go down again to the island and select the island, and I'm going to circle select the parts that I want to make into a greenish grass area. So let's go back to edit mode, which is by clicking tab and then click C to circle select. So let's just see how it looks first with shift set, and then go into the grass material, click C to circle select the areas that you want to make into a kind of like grassland. I've done this 1,000 times before already in this tutorial, but I'm just repeating it. Click assign, and let's see how it looks. We can still make this area maybe a little bit more, but you can just keep it as you want to have it. It's very easy to change, so you can change as much as you want. So let's go into the modifiers, and we can make it even more low poly by clicking decimate. Then I'm going to make the ratio to 0.1, and that is going to make it really low poly looking. So if you go into rendered mode again, you can see that we have the same result as in the animation before the tutorial. And this is also the result that you will see in the tutorial thumbnail. But you can keep it this way, or you can change the decimate ratio, or you can just remove the decimate if you want to. Like this, and you will have the same result as we had in the beginning. So you can just render which part you want to have, with decimate or without decimates. So I'm going to click render, and after a speed up, this is what it looks like when it's done rendering. This is the final result, and this is the final result with decimate. That was it for this tutorial. Thanks for watching, and I will post a lot of cool tutorials in the future, so stay tuned.